Hi guys, and welcome back to World of Tanks, and it's another random destruction. I've been doing reviews all week, so I thought I'd do something a bit different tonight, and it's a bit of a shorter one, only 2 replays tonight, and that's because I did a video yesterday and I don't normally do one on a Saturday, so here we are. We're on Ghost Town. It's an assault and we're on the attack, tier 6 match, and I'm in the tier 5 Japanese Super Heavy, the OI Experimental. I don't have it fully upgraded yet. I've got to get the top engine, I think it is, that's all that's left, and it's my first match in it with the 10cm tank gun, and it does 300 damage, I want to say, and 100, I think it's 130, 135 pence, something like that. I'm afraid I don't have the figures. It's not in the companion app yet, and on the Tankopedia it doesn't have them, so I do apologise. It's just because I'm crap. Now, it's got 75mm of armour on the front, 70 on the sides and rear, and 75 all round the turret. So not a bad armoured tier 5, to be honest. At medium range it can bounce quite a lot, but it's got the same weak spots that I sort of covered in the Kaiju OI review. Same flat a bit behind the front turrets with the ammo racks in the corners, which is a good place to hit if you want to ammo rack them. But I like it. It's a lot faster than I thought it would be in a straight line. Still not particularly manoeuvrable, but yeah, the speed was a big surprise for me. And it's a lot faster than the Kaiju or the OI at tier 6. And that was lucky. It looks like my tracks ate that shot from the enemy OI Experimental. Take a bounce from something down there, I think a medium, but then I get penetrated on the front. And a lot of people think that the front turrets, the smaller turrets, are actually the weak spots on these, and they're not. The armour is as thick as it is on the rest of the front of the tank. But your best chance of penetrating is obviously not the sloped upper plate, because that increases the effective thickness, but that flatter bit behind the turrets. Or, if they're angled like that guy is, the front turrets do have some flat surfaces on them. But you do have to aim well, but at this sort of range it's not too bad. Now, is he going to pop out again? Just checking behind me, because there's a medium sneaking around. There he is. If somebody could take care of him, I would be muchly grateful. Right, can I see the corner of his tank by peeking up to here? Nope, but I'm going to take a hit. Excuse me, I'm going to take a hit for trying though. From the T-3488. I managed to finish him off, and that's when the OI comes out. He's waiting for me to fire. I don't know if he went for the lower plate. He may have done, but he bounced, luckily. And if I remember from the armour viewer, I think the lower plate appears to be as thick as the upper plate. They do seem to be 75mm all over the front, which is, like I say, I can't emphasise it enough, the flat bit below the main turret and behind the 2 frontal ones. I managed to put a good hit on the KV-1S, and I was expecting the enemy OI to come back out again, but he didn't. He had been popping out every time I fired, but something might be distracting him right now. I take another bounce, try and aim at his turret, and I managed to plant a good one straight through and just dodge his return fire. And then, yeah, something snuck around behind me, T-34, plant a good hit on him, take off well over half his health, but he penned me a couple of times when I was turning round, but I reload in time just to finish him off. That was close. Now a little bit with this one, this has got 70 on the rear, not the 75 at the front, more so I think with the OI at tier 6. Oh, kill steal there, ninja'd. Yeah, sorry, a little bit with this, is that if something does get behind you, especially in the OI at tier 6, don't try and turn around, because your side armour is the weakest and you are really slow, and your rear armour on the OI is as tough as the frontal armour, and that flatter bit, sort of the equivalent on the back as to the front, that's got more of an angle to it, so it tends to bounce more shots than the front bit. It won't bounce every shot, but it bounces more. So yeah, I know it's sort of a bit counterintuitive. You're always trying to turn your tank around, sort of get the strongest armour towards the enemy, but like I say, in the OI, if something does get behind you, just turn your turret. and keep that stronger rear armour towards him rather than giving him the weaker side. Right, we do seem to be clearing up quite nicely, and I'm a bit indecisive there as whether I'm going to go up or down, and I decide to sweep down. I know the KV-1's just fired, so take my time, plant one into him. That was a high roll actually, that was quite nice. And oh, this is where the scenery just screws me over. I hit a wall, and it just throws my aim off long enough for me not to fire. And yeah, unfortunately I come a cropper at that one. But not a bad match. Like I say, that's the first one that I took it out in with the 10cm gun attached, and I quite like it. I did like it. I actually kept the is it the 12cm gun attached until I'd unlocked enough XP to fit the 10cm. I really just didn't bother with the 7.5cm. It kind of reminds me of the Sherman gun actually, the 7.5cm. Not the first one that you get, but the there's another one. I think it's the Type, I want to say the Type 95, but I can't quite remember. But it reminds me of the Sherman gun. Similar rate of fire, but a little bit more alpha damage on it. Let's see if these guys can finish him off. Yep, there we go. And that was a nice victory. So not a bad little match at all. 4,558 XP, high caliber, although some of that will have come from the ops that I did. 2,264 damage and 4 kills, and 1,200 blocked, which is always nice. And even nicer that it was a tier 6 match, so I wasn't top tier in that one, but I did come top of the table, which is nice again. It's always that little bit nicer when you're not top tier to come top of the table. Right, got another one for you next, and it's in the Chinese IS-2. Right, so here we are. It's Arctic region, snow, and it's a standard battle. And again, I'm not top tier, I am middle tier. It's a tier 8 match. I'm in a tier 7, the Chinese IS-2. It's almost identical to the Russian IS-2 or the Russian IS, tier 7 heavy. And it's, you know, quite understandable. The Russians did sell these to the Chinese, so that's why it's very similar. You could almost argue though that this has slightly better frontal armour. It's only 90mm, but it is all sloped rather than having that flatter bit where the driver's viewport is on the Russian IS. 37 kilometers an hour, so it's quite nimble. Good traverse speed of 38 degrees a second, and not bad on the turret at 28 degrees a second either. Not a brilliant view range at 350 though. And it's got a pretty standard 122mm, I would say Soviet 122mm, because again it essentially is 175mm pen, 390 damage, 4.8 rounds a minute. It's got 90mm of armour on the sides, 60 on the rear. I've already mentioned the 90 on the front, and the turret is 100 on the front and 90 on the sides and rear. So like I say, almost identical to the Russian IS or IS-2. And I think anybody who's thinking about going down the Chinese line, going down the Chinese heavies and being down the Russian ones, will be able to get into the Chinese IS-2, and obviously if they did really well in the Russian IS, they'll do really well in this. It might even have slightly better traverse, although I could be thinking of the Russian IS-2. But this is one of those matches where it didn't really look as though it was going to go particularly well at the beginning. And I'm following this Centennial up to this corner, and at first I'm thinking, well, there's not many of us coming up here, so that could be bad if the enemy team do make a push over this northern side, because that does happen quite often. So we were playing it a bit cautious. So far there's just a solitary MT-25, which is a bit unusual. And I think it got to a point in this where I was just sort of resigned to the fact that I'm probably not going to do much in this match, and come out of it sort of midway down the table maybe, after doing not a great deal of damage. Now, something different about the Chinese IS, if memory serves me, obviously you can see it as heat as its premium ammunition, whereas I'm pretty sure the Russian one has APCR as its premium ammunition. Those heat have got 250 mil of penetration, which is actually quite good. take a pot shot at the MT-25 on the move. I didn't really think I was going to hit him. I don't have the Hand of Stalin guide in the shells because it's Chinese, not Russian.
Ready to fire.
Oh, got a tank destroyer up here as well, Challenger. That's one of the British tank destroyers, the other British tank destroyer line. Now I think they, I can't remember if they've got a 17 pounder or a 20 pounder, possibly a 20 pounder. I'm keeping an eye on that MT-25 though, because he keeps looking like he's going to peek over and start putting shells down into our engine deck. Here he comes. Put a big one into him and track him. Not quite enough to stop his lack of gun depression getting down to me, but thankfully he's harmlessly bouncing, so take my time, make sure the shell goes in and finish him off. Right, where's that tank destroyer gone? Oh, that's a different tank destroyer, that's a T-25/2. Luckily my tracks ate that though, just got knocked off a bit, that could have been a lot worse. Right. Now then, let's see if we can get across this open ground without getting seen. It looks like most of the enemy push has been to the south around that corner, which is not a bad idea to be honest. I mean, I wouldn't have put all the tanks there, but when there's no artillery in play you're quite safe. It's horrible that corner if there's any artillery in play because they can just annihilate you. It's quite open as you have to peek round. Right, so me and the Centennial, we're just going to, well, I don't really know what the plan is at the minute actually, we're just making our way towards the enemy cap, seeing what's around there. We know there's a T-25/2 across here, and then a T-69 pops up, and I think, yeah, I can get a shot at him, and it's disappeared, so I aim blind, and it actually went slightly wide and luckily hit the target. Maybe not the Hand of Stalin guide in the shell, but I think somebody is for me. That was quite a lucky shot. So I'll just flick it around just in case he decides to come and take a bit of retribution. But it doesn't look like he is, and the Centennial's pushed on, and it looks like he's got himself into a spot of bother. There looks like to be 3 tanks around there that are shooting back at him, and I just wish this was that little bit faster. See if I can get around to save this guy. Oh, not quite. I did feel a bit bad for that actually. Right, so we've got an OI, we've got an A44 and very low health. Let's finish him off first. And I'm pretty sure that T-25/2 is still around there. Yep, there he is. Oh, and I'm not reloaded. But I just managed to put one through him as he pulls back. Tracks are back up. Just waiting for him to pop back out. There's Tiger 2 down that way as well. I hope he doesn't turn back around. Oh dear. That's when the T-69 pops up. And I think I'd just seen him, which is why I started to pull back and turn. And luckily my tracks eat most of those and I managed to give him a big slap in return. But that's when the T-25/2 has a go as well. But he gets one and that manages to damage his turret, thankfully. Right. I can't have a T-69 on my flank. Definitely not. Luckily that one was a bounce from the T-25/2, so I'm going to pull back into this dip where the road is and hopefully that T-69 is still reloading. I've got to get around there quick. Now the OI is coming back and I'm just expecting a big shell in the back of my turret any second now. But I need to get into a better position and hopefully take care of this guy, and he bounces and I don't, and that's all she wrote for him. Right, spin it around, and now I've got an OI trying to run me down as well. Try and go for that flat corner and it bounces, but luckily it looked like he bounced as well. Now the corners at the front are where the ammo racks are. Just there. Not quite enough to actually ammo rack him though, but at least it's damaged. And hopefully if he's burnt his repair kit, he'll not be able to get that back up. Go for the commander's hatch on top. Oh, just donked it into the floor there. It went dipped slightly. And this doesn't have particularly good gun depression. Oh, something's got round. It's the T-25/2 again. Come on. There we go. That's him finished off. Right. Now, I'm pretty much on my own up here. The rest of the team are back over there. And I don't know if they have already, but at some point I think one of them tells me to fall back. And at the time I'm thinking, no thanks, I'm having way too much fun over here. Go for the flat bit. Straight through and damaged his turret as well. Bonus. Yeah, as I was saying, you can see I'm sort of using the back slope here. They don't have particularly good gun depression, but with the sloped front, it's increasing that angle, and luckily they're just bouncing off the front of me. I've just got to keep moving back and forth. I've only got 3 standard rounds left, and then I'm onto my heat ammunition. And where have they gone? Oh, there he is. Go for the corner again. Straight through and managed to finish him off. Now, there's just one left, another OI. And just go for the reload. I'm going to go for the commander's hatch. Oh, and he pulls back. But he's just fired, so I should have enough time to push up and put one into him. Oh, and it hit the tank traps. Got one more armor piercing left. Come on, come back round. There you go. Nope. Not that time, and now we're down to the heat ammunition. And yeah, I think I'm pretty much a one-hit kill for that guy now. And have been for a while. And he's using the wreck of the other OI to try and hide from me. Oh, but I get a good hit through his commander's hatch. That was a high roll. Was it 420 something? Remember, this has got 390 average damage, so that was quite a good roll. And then I just load up an HE because I only need to give him a little love tap. And there we go, he's done. That was a fun round. And considering at the beginning of it, I didn't think I'd actually finish off doing much in that round, I was very, very pleased with that result. Now, 10,000 XP, yeah, a little bit high, but I did have, might have been a ×3 on, possibly, and I did get something for another one, but 3,850 damage done, 4,500 blocked, an ace tanker, a high caliber, a top gun, a sniper, and a steel wall. I am very, very happy with that. So yes, not a bad round at all. In fact, the best round I've ever had in my IS2. In fact, one of the best rounds I think I've ever had. Not the most damage, but definitely one of the most fun rounds I've ever had. Anyway, I hope you've liked tonight's episode, and I'll be back tomorrow with another one. So, as always, take care out there, and I will catch you next time. See you later.